Alright, what's going on everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Marvel Strike Force, recording from Basel, Switzerland. And today we're going to be talking about a Songbird. We're going to do a little bit of a short recap in the beginning, because there's a few things that obviously came out over the last day before we jump into Songbird. But today is going to be the video for Should You Core. We're going to be talking about the second character for the Thunderbolts team, and we did have Victoria Hand already come out. We're going to talk about whether or not you need Songbird. We're going to talk about her kit in a little bit more detail, and you know, the funny thing is that her showcase actually came out a day early. I was wondering when I logged in today why it was actually there, but apparently that happened. But we're going to take a deeper look at her. We're also going to take a look at her stats and see how she stacks up with some of the other characters. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. And I'm trying to figure out, oh, sorry guys, where's my button? Where's my buttons? That's my bad. My apologies. It's kind of weird here not having my usual setup. I'm not switching my scenes as quickly as I should have. There we go. Sorry for that delayed intro change. I am still live. So let's let's take a look at the stats for Songbird first. So you know, the actual numbers, like I said, when I usually do this, doesn't matter that much because it is scaled to like purple 3/3 diamond, which is it's like the absolute maximum. But I just want to see where they rank in compared to other characters. So we're going to zoom in a little bit more. We have the health category over here. And so let's find ourselves Songbird. So we do a Control F if it's working properly. Control F, Songbird. And she is number 28 in health. So she's tied with her, actually just a little bit higher than Hercules, but less than Rocket Raccoon and Sentinel. But she is not like a tank by any means. Still top 30 is pretty nice. Let's take a look at damage. And where does she stack up with some of the other characters? She's number 12 in damage, tied with Quasar, Silver Sable, Punisher. They all have like the same stats. Wow, okay, so like all the way down here. So from Lalandra, Punisher, oh, and Null, they all have the same exact number, 945, 745 as their maximum, but that's fine, right? Anywhere from 7 to 12, so a little bit higher than Hitmonkey. So some good damage stats there as well, so that's encouraging, I guess. Her armor stat, where does she stack up for that? I don't have to scroll too far. We're at number 20, tied with Howard the Duck and Kahori. So, and similar to Hitmonkey and Silver Sable as well. So not too bad. This is kind of the stats that we're seeing with this kind of, I guess, 2025 kind of new era stat characters. So we're seeing that, and Taskmaster just a little bit below as well, so not too far down there. And we have for focus, pretty good actually. Number 9, tied between Null for focus, Songbird, Ghost having the same kind of focus stat there, so should have no problems landing stuff at least once you get to about the 4 yellow, 4 red area probably. Resists, how are we there? A little bit weaker. Okay, I have to scroll a little bit further. Let's see, number 41 for resist, they're tied with, actually a little bit higher than Elektra, Hitmonkey, and the other Vigilante characters actually, in fact. A little bit less than Beast. So not great in everything, of course. The lowest stat seems to be in resistance, but the other stats are not too bad. And as far as speed goes, which is a little bit further, we're going to zoom out a bit. She's really fast. Wow. So she's 132, tied with Black Cat. So she's like one of the fastest characters in the game with base speed anyways. And that's just one below Red Hulk, Black Panther, Shuri. You know, honestly, I had no idea that Ronin and they were that fast, actually. So she's almost one of the fastest characters in the game that's in the meta. Right? You know, arguably Red Hulk's not really in the meta anymore. Black Cat, not really so much either. Black Panther, Shuri for Crucible, I suppose, but you get the speed up from Hank Pym, right? And the others aren't really in the meta. So she's almost one of the fastest meta characters in the game. So that's pretty nice, actually. That's really encouraging. Let's take a look at her kit again, once again. So she is bio. Keep in mind, so she is a damage-based character because she is a blaster character. So Songbird is Hero, Global, Bio, Blaster, Thunderbolt, and this Chapter 1 Harbinger tag, which we'll take a look at. We're going to take a look at this towards the end now at this point. We're going to take a look at some of the stuff that are in-game right now. But her basic Deafening Scream is primary target for 300% damage and clear 2 positive effects, and then she clears 2 negative effects on self. That's actually not bad, so it's probably a pretty good striker action, and that's probably what I would do, I think, for this character. Now, I don't know what the recommendations are from others, but just by looking at what the basic action does, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good striker attack that you'd want to clear the 2 negatives on self when you're using some of the other attacks as well. Let's just jump down to the passive, though, because it usually ends up being pretty important. So on turn, apply 2 deflect. Now on her turn, right? So it's not any turn. Apply 2 deflect up to a max of 3 to self and all Thunderbolt allies. So that's pretty good, right? Like even if it's just on, it's probably on her turn, right? I always mix up how the wording is. But that's still quite good anyways, defensively, even though she's not a defensive character, but that gives defensive stuff for the team. And it's in all game modes, which is really, really nice. So I do like that. So far, what I'm seeing from the Thunderbolts seems a little bit better, I think, than the Vigilantes. But the Vigilantes did get a buff of some sort, you know, when they came out too. If this character has 4 or more allies, this character and all Thunderbolt allies cannot gain ability block or trauma until she takes a turn. Now, this is interesting because she's the fastest one on the team, but I guess this is going to be in all game modes. So if you're going up against a team in, say, War or Crucible, where they are faster because of speed bar mechanics, then they're still going to be immune to ability block and trauma. It's the entire team. So this is pretty something, but as always, you have to use the entire team together. So there's no mixing and matching. There's no plug and play here, right? 50% crit chance in raids, getting 50% crit damage. So this would kind of lend itself and the team, honestly, to raiders. But I really do like that striker attack. And if her damage stat is that high, then the striker action still might be worth doing. It's just whenever you see characters and teams with high crit chance and crit damage, you kind of tend to want to put raider on there to almost maximize or get it as close to 100% crit as possible, and then increasing the crit damage. So I guess it would come down to Raider or Striker, but I don't know. Part of me that really likes the cleansing part of the Striker action, but that's just me. And then she also has 300% focus to her team, not to her, but her focus was quite high anyway, so maybe that explains why the focus was so high. So that's a good passive there, but it is in raids only for the focus, unfortunately. And also the crit stuff is just self. So it should be in all game modes for self. And I do want to kind of take a look at that really quick because you should be able to see it here, right? Or maybe not. Maybe not. No. So maybe not until you actually unlock her. That's right. The first, right, whenever you get the crit chance, I guess it would be like all the way up here. How high does it go? Level 4. So I guess until I actually unlock her, I wouldn't actually see the enhanced crit chance. There was some bugs for things like this for characters like Ancient One that had crit chance on self, and it was actually locked at Battle World, even though it didn't say. I don't even know if they fixed that, but anyways, I just wanted to point that out. The special, clear barrier on all enemies, again, all game modes, so that's nice, on its cooldown of 5. Primary and adjacent targets for 400% damage and reduce speed bar by 20%, so all adjacent targets are going to get 20% reduction, which is nice. 2 or more Thunderbolt allies. Reduce the duration of defense up by 2, so I think this is basically like Scarlet Witch's action on her ultimate, where this will work through Safeguard, I think, right? Because it's not removing, it's reducing their duration, so this is different. I think this works through Safeguard. Apply defense down for 2 turns to primary and adjacent targets, and then in raids, she's also buffing the shit out of the team. Defense up, Safeguard, speed up for the entire team. Wow, okay, so yeah, she's a blaster, but she comes with a lot of buffs just for raids, and 500% extra focus, at least outside of raids, which is nice too. Her ultimate, available on turn 1 as well, AoE for 350. Fortunately not piercing, so the numbers are maybe a bit low because it doesn't include piercing, but her damage stat is fairly high. Flip all positive effects into negative effects, and then apply offense down for 2 turns. If this character has 4 or more allies, apply trauma for 2 turns. So again, available in all game modes, super nice. I like this. That yes, you do have to have the full team, but at least you can get the trauma part. With 2 turns of AoE trauma, honestly, at this point, is pretty solid. So this attack gains 500%, again, just like the other one, gains 500% extra focus, can't be blocked. But it could be dodged, because it doesn't say that on the ultimate. So this one could be dodged, I suppose. And then in raids, well, there you go. This attack can't be dodged in raids. Speed bar by 50% in raids, so pretty powerful. And then immunity for 1 turn, unfortunately, on the ultimate. So really solid skills here. I actually really like her kit, honestly. I really like Victoria Hand's kit. I felt that as a support character, it was quite viable in other game modes, or I guess outside of the Thunderbolts teams, like for events or something, if you really had to use them. But Songbird has some pretty nice stuff as well. Some of this stuff can be used outside, like let's say the Xavier Saga, right? Like without the rest of the team, like this is fine, this is fine. There's a few things that are obviously locked to having more Thunderbolt allies. offense down for 2 turns. Unfortunately, no trauma. So yeah, maybe she's not the best to be using on her own in places like the Xavier Saga. I was thinking for the Hero Global section, because there's a lot of different different characters that you can choose to do that. Okay, I realized I just kind of skipped over this final part, so I'm gonna like throw this into the video somewhere. And I guess we're kind of at the end of the part where we ask, should you core? In this case for Songbird. And I think really it depends on what you're looking to get done. If you have Victoria Hand, there might be a good argument to get Songbird as well. If you're someone who skipped Victoria Hand, I would probably wait. And the reason why is because I am kind of curious how long it takes, or what they're doing with character availability. Right? Are we going to get a weekly Harbinger event or something like that for Victoria Hand? So by the time Hyperion comes out, are we going to even have Victoria Hand available to us? Because normally what I would say is it's worth coring the final character. So in this case, it would be Hyperion. But if we don't even have Victoria Hand available free to play before Hyperion comes out, then that really kind of upends a lot of this. Because typically you would have the first character of the team at least free to play available by the time the last character gets revealed or released. And so I guess my short answer is no. But if you've been someone that's been picking up all of the characters, then you probably will pick up Songbird as well. But as far as using your power cores to be able to do so, I would probably wait and do it on Hyperion, and then we're going to take a look, when he comes out, where we're at with the other 2 characters, with Victoria Hand and with Songbird, as far as free-to-play availability. So that's just my thoughts there before we end the video. The other thing that I wanted to talk about today in the video as well is because obviously I woke up this morning and I found the start of the negative zone Harbinger, and we've already talked about this in other videos, right? Like so I gave a crack at the first node. I didn't have a ton of time. I did actually got to the end until Super Scroll, and then I guess I didn't have my cooldowns ready and he killed me, but I backed out. So I think that this is doable. I think with a bunch of resetting and with a bunch of RNG, like I can one-shot this. This is my current team. I'm 5.8 million. The problem is I don't have a lot of time right now, right? I'm on holiday, so I might give this a go. I might not. But to be honest, even if you do it or you don't do it, it's not really that big of a deal because you're not getting a ton of stuff anyways. The rewards are still the same as it was when I mentioned it a day or two ago. And they haven't boosted it. So frankly, if you don't even do this entire thing, you're not going to miss that much. Like, so if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You don't really need to do it. The rewards are not super great. So if you don't have the time to be able to reset over and over again to do this event, then it's not that big of a deal. Like, you're not really going to miss out on much. We do have the not the negative zone, the Harbinger week 2 stuff, right? So I want to look at that really quickly. Some very easy, quick Hitmonkey shards. Like, I've already got up the first 60 shards. Doing the objectives, the daily 8 battles of raids. But then if you have an Armory 20 orb, you can open that and get 50 points. And then you can get another easy 50 points for using your vigilantes in raids. You can get this done quicker if you want to take them into Spotlight raid on the first couple of nodes there. So you can get some extra attacks in on top of your skill raid nodes. And then this stuff should not be that difficult to get done. And then you're going to walk away with, all of this stuff. So you might not get the whole thing completed because it doesn't want you to have Songbird at 5, 6, 7 yellow. There's also going to be Thunderbolt Diamond Orbs in here, but to be honest, you can get most of the other rewards here, I think, completely free as well. I don't know if we're going to get right down to the bottom, because I think maybe you need Songbird for that, because you're only going to get, 70 points for the 7 days of the battle and raids, plus 150, right? So you're going to cap out at 220, which is here. So you're not going to get these last 2, but it's really not that big of a deal, if you ask me. But still some really easy Hitmonkey shards. You only need to get to 100 points. Which honestly is super easy. You would just need to do this 7 times and then do 1 of these. And even if you're not getting Armory 20 stuff, you can still battle in raids with the Vigilantes as long as you do 3 times 7, right? 3 times 7, 21. So as long as you use 3 of these, which you should have at this point, you should have a Silver Sable, and you should have 4 of them, really. So it shouldn't be that difficult to be able to use this and do this because I think it's less than that. It's the characters, right? It's not. I don't think it's 10 raid battles. I think it's just 10 vigilante characters, so this should go pretty quick as well. The other thing that I want to point out is that we're another weekly of the using your intel in the store, and so I don't know how much intel we're getting on a weekly basis for this week. I haven't calculated it for week 2 because I've been a bit busy. But again, what I'm doing is I'm kind of holding off on claiming this one. So I claimed one of the ones, and one last week, one this week, and I'm going to wait and claim this one next week because I don't really need it right now, just to make sure that I have enough, the 300,000 intel, to spend for the Harbinger event for this week. So that's my plans for that. But otherwise, I would be curious what your thoughts are in the comments down below. When it comes to the negative zone Harbinger, I think I scrolled through Reddit and there was like 2 major posts talking about this already. And my biggest gripe, I mean, I gotta say, the biggest gripe about this is that you don't have to have G20. They're recommending that you have G20. It turns out that I think that the overpower may not be on, so maybe I was a bit over the top when I was talking about that. But there is no gear tier 20 rewards at all. And so that's the kind of lackluster part of it, in my opinion. They're kind of recommending gear 20, but not actually giving any G20 or even any intel to buy G20 as a result of this event. So kind of baffling to me, but I'm just going to take it easy this week since I'm on holiday, and hopefully you guys don't stress out too much as well. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below, and I will see you guys on the next video.
And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.